Here or
You're good. That's
all right.
perfect.
Okay.
Hi, welcome to our spotlight interview with the amazing Evelyn. I'm so excited to have you here with me tonight. I am going to let our guest sit in the audience and watch us. That is Saida there. But our esteemed guest for tonight, we are going to get to know you a bit better and find out about your journey. So I'm very excited. How are you feeling today?
I am excited and anxious for today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No need to be anxious. It's just us having a great conversation about our experience together and really highlighting your journey. I'm really blessed to connect with you on a regular basis. So I know how you feel and I know how you have progressed. But this is really about us kind of taking that walk down memory lane and seeing how much growth and progress you've actually made because we have so much more to accomplish and we got to stop and smell the roses, right? So I'm really excited about tonight. I'm going to add your bio and introduce you fully, and then we are going to jump right in to our interview. So let's see who we're speaking to tonight and hearing from. This is Gregg Evelyn Jr. Greg has always loved laughter and making others laugh. For a long time, though, he used laughter to hide his pain and lack of self love. His coping mechanism was to work. For as long as he can remember, Greg wanted to be rich, but after suffering a devastating loss in his youth, he gave up on his academic pursuits. Despite finding his niche as a forex trader, his purpose felt hollow, though he still dreamt of life's luxuries. Gradually, his definition of wealth and riches and richness um, evolved to mean time, family, unity, legacy, and helping others achieve a better quality of life. Greg is currently building his business with this foundation and wishes to leave behind a legacy where lives have been positively impacted for generations to come. Today, he is providing the tools that will help others to have a better quality of life, wealthy or not. He resides in Brooklyn, New York, with his wife and his daughter. Drum roll for the amazing Evelyn. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. That was a dope introduction. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's firstly talk about how we know each other. So many people don't know that we have been friends for a very, very long time. So, how about you tell the people how we've come to this point?
Um, we have been friends since junior high school for
Crazy.
a very, very, very long time. Um, we became friends. We became friends, and then we became more than friends, and we were just we made promises to make sure that we stayed friends no matter what, and
Yeah.
that we would support each other no matter what, and we would be there for each other no matter what. And you have been one of the few people to keep your word in that regard. Many have fallen to the wayside. Um, Many people that I know, we've just drifted apart, but somehow, some way, regardless of time and distance, we somehow find each other and we continue where we left off, and we continue to maintain and uphold that promise that we made to each other to this day.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't mean to put you on the spot. But yes, it's been such a beautiful journey. I can't believe that it's like over 25 years and to have someone in my life for that long. And, hopefully I can speak for you as well. It really feels like being fully seen and heard and known, to have gone through 25 years of joys and sorrows and triumphs and losses and like everything, right? You can't get through a 25-year friendship without the ups and downs and the roller coaster that life really brings. So it's been such a pleasure and an honor to know you and to be known and to have that level of commitment when it comes to a friendship. It's very rare these days. So I'm excited for, us to have this time together because our friendship has evolved so many times, right? Just as much as we have evolved as coming from kids to teenagers into adulthood, now we're parents and you're married and like all of these different phases of life. And so how did we get to a point where you decided you wanted to tap into the work that I'm doing? Because, over the years, I've done a lot of great things. Um, and obviously, you've cheered on the sidelines and supported me in other ways. But for the past couple of years, you've really played an active role in that and really taken on your own healing journey through the work that I do. So how did you come to that realization that that's something that you wanted to do?
I don't think I came to the realization. To be honest, I feel like it just happened kind of organically. Um, I can say openly and honestly now that I'd always been reluctant to do the work, right? I avoided it as much as I possibly could. Um, Mainly because of whatever belief system I developed over the years, right? I don't want to talk to nobody about my personal stuff. They don't even know me like that. So, you know what I mean? I'm pouring out my heart, or I'm going to potentially be pouring out my heart to someone who doesn't know me, who doesn't care about me. It's just work for them. Um, all I'm going to get is some kind of diagnosis or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And when I had an opportunity or had opportunities to just talk to friends outside of you, one of the things that was a like a pet peeve of mine is like after pouring out my heart, I obviously don't expect people to have answers, right? But it just started to irritate me when um people, after pouring out my heart, the response would be like, wow, that's crazy.
Wow, that's
Wow.
crazy.
Wow,
Wow.
yeah. Right. And I'm like already broken. I'm broken up. And then I show you me and you're like, well, I know it's crazy. That's why I'm showing it to you. Look. Um, but I can't say I remember specifically right now offhand, but I think the catalyst is that uh you're such a good listener. You know what I mean? And you offer feedback that's far beyond wow, that's crazy. You know what I mean? I don't want to jump ahead, but yeah, that's how we got
Yeah.
started. You allowed me to feel like I was being heard. You listened to the details, and um you went beneath the surface. I'm always saying that phrase, but you definitely, no matter how much I tried to stay surface level, right? you you found a way to dig a little deeper, and um your approach um definitely allowed me a sense of comfort and safety, like, okay, I feel like however, regardless of how I'm feeling or what it is that's in my mind is making me feel about me, I can share it with you. And um from, like, okay, in the beginning, like, from what I know, uh you ain't gonna like beat me up too bad. You're not gonna leave me, you're not gonna just leave me there with like open wounds basically.
Mm.
um but what I got versus what I expected, well, I got far beyond what I expected. um the level of safety, I never expected that. The whole idea of um being honest and living in your truth, right? And not rejecting yourself, but accepting yourself. Whoo-wee. That was,
Yeah.
um, but that sparked. Okay, so definitely some of the questions that you've asked and some of the perspective shifts that you suggested, like, okay, instead of looking at a thing this way, let's try to look at a thing that way. It it opened up doors in my mind that either trauma or I myself shut, right? I don't want to go there because I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to be exposed to that. Um right? So avoidance and all that, but um it's different. Like, okay, it's one thing when you got to go into that dark basement by yourself, right? Even if the light switch is at the top of the stairs, it's different flipping on that switch by yourself than having like your cousin or even your little sister or brother come with you, like, yo, come with me, come with me in the basement. When you flip on that switch and you go in the basement, you got somebody with you. It's a different experience. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so that's right now, that's what I can compare it to. I didn't have to open those doors
Mm.
and walk through those things alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
I
you,
love
yeah.
it. I'm excited. That I know you're really looking forward to sharing, all of the things that we've experienced together in this part of our friendship and journey. And so, I've got some questions. I'm gonna help you kind of put all of that, all of those thoughts into the conversation. So what I heard was you didn't come to a decision that you wanted to really dive into therapeutic coaching in any real way. It's just the natural dynamic that we have of my listening style and the questions that I ask and the perspective shifts that I offer helps you feel more comfortable in kind of taking that journey into some of those darker spaces in your life, in your heart, in your mind. And because it happened naturally, it was almost like we were doing the work. We were already in our friendship, kind of shifting gears in the way that we communicated so that you could heal through those things and move beyond them. And then the opportunity came up for us to work together. And then it was like, okay, cool. That's like a natural transition. So it doesn't sound like, hey, I need to be in therapeutic coaching. Let me go get some help. It was more like having me kind of hold your hand through certain things. And then we showed up at the door of the therapist's office and you like, what we doing here? It's like, oh, we just gonna go sit on the couch and talk real quick. You're like, okay, I'm cool with it. As long as you're
Absolutely.
gonna be in there with me, then I'm fine. So
Yeah. Yep.
okay,
Yep.
so what was life like before we got to any of that? So let's just say we've been working together on a conscious level over the past 2 years. I kind of use Emmanuel as the mile marker and the milestone for how long we've really been diving deep into this work. And so take us back 2 years ago. What was life like at that point?
um. So
Emmanuel heard
two.
his name.
So 2 years ago, life was like, um life really felt like me. I was trying to live while grieving. If that's, I don't even know if that's the right way to really put it. but um, I just felt like I was constantly grieving because of um, a really significant loss that we experienced in my family, and it felt like all of my life, my lifestyle, my motivation, um, my purpose or my lack of purpose thereof, personal purpose, my personal value and worth, and my how I even saw myself. It seemed like it was all coming from a place of grieving, right, because of that loss. So yeah, um, I I had all these ideas about things that I wanted to do in life and the things that I wanted to accomplish. But again, um, whatever the residual effects of me constantly being in a state of grieving created or helped to create or even fuel some of the blocks that just I just felt stagnant. I think that's the best thing. I just felt stagnant. I felt like movement versus motion, right? It just felt like I was going and going and going and really not going anywhere. Definitely kind of like a fog. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it sounds like the epitome of like going with the motions, but not going anywhere. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, just wanting to move, but feeling like you're stuck in quicksand and sinking faster the more you try to get out of whatever it is. So sometimes it's like, well, I'm just not gonna move then.
Mm-hmm.
If moving is gonna make me sink faster, then I'm not gonna move
Like-
out of it. Right? I'm gonna try to stay as still as I can and um, you know, not make it any worse, right?
right.
Without realizing
Yeah.
that stagnancy was making it worse, right? Because if
Absolutely.
you know, we're using all of these metaphors. If y'all don't know now, you know, Greg is a poet, he's a writer. The way that he thinks is in visuals, and so his very watery Piscean nature is going to have us going down so many roads and seeing so many things on the scenic route in this conversation. So yeah, it's a whole lot of ride, but and he brings that out of me too. So buckle up. So okay, it's almost like getting back to the stagnancy, right? We were talking about quicksand and feeling stuck, not wanting to move, but not realizing that the stagnancy like creates the perfect environment for um things to kind of rot, right?
Yes. Yep.
And I'm we're
Yep.
going somewhere with this because stagnant water breeds mold,
Mm,
it breeds, you know, a bunch of
disease.
junk, disease, yes,
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff. And we're using this example because from my experience, right, when we started this walk, after having been out of each other's lives for a short while, it's just like, man, this is what you've been going through. Like, you've been holding on to all of this, you know? Okay, let's talk about it. Let's clear this up, right? Let's go ahead and get some things moving again. And so, what specific challenges or like pain points do you think you were facing before we started working together? So we talked about the big picture of it. What are some specific things that you were going through? You said grief, you said the stagnancy, but what else, can you kind of put
Guilt. I was walking around with a lot of guilt. You
okay.
know, guilt for being a survivor. Um, Trying to figure out if it was anything that I did that triggered certain events that took place. Um, hmm. Low self-esteem. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I hearing a compliment was so hard, and receiving a compliment was so hard. You know what I mean? Um, depression. I right, and it's depression is definitely like carbon monoxide when you're in a car in the garage, right? You don't know. You just know you fall. You don't even know that you falling asleep. You know what I mean? Eh, But knock on wood, um, you fall. I would go to work, come home, go to sleep. When I come home, wake up, miss the entire evening. When I wake up, it's like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I didn't eat dinner. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, had no idea I was depressed, but I was able to realize I was depressed. Um, I was definitely um in that hamster wheel, like you mentioned. Like there was no ambition really to step outside of what I understood was the hamster wheel. So like I'm in the hamster wheel going around, and I could see that little hole that I could jump out. I'm like, I don't even feel like going out that, because as I learned through our sessions, that pain, or that just not necessarily the pain, but that place I was in became a comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? And you have a band-aid, eventually you got to take that band-aid off, right? Because we need the scab to develop, if the scab X, Y, and Z. But sometimes after the first time we experience taking that band-aid off, that first cut, when we get the second cut, we not trying to take it off so soon because we worried about that pain, right? But that pain can definitely turn into healing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I really appreciate your honesty and your vulnerability in this moment. Um, you know, much of my work is centered around women and mothers, but the nurturology framework is open to anyone who is willing to heal and to do the work and heal those generational patterns and create household harmony and craft a life that they love, right? And so how would you say some of those challenges that you just mentioned, like the guilt, the depression, kind of being stuck in the hamster wheel, the low self-esteem, how did those things impact your daily life? You talked about the cycle, but how did it impact your relationships, family relationships, friends, your work or your business? How was that trickling into other areas of your life?
So thank you for asking that. So the grief, the depression, um, caused me to not really want to be around family. Um, I definitely avoided people that I really, really cared about. I avoided being around them because I was afraid of that feeling. I was afraid of feeling that feeling again. Um, for that comes from experiencing a loss. Like losing a loved one or a friend. Um, I had all these. I definitely had. I had opportunities, and I had definitely had the potential to do a lot of different things, but I just didn't have the drive and the ambition to do it. Um, I did. I was able to complete a semester in John Jay, for example, and um, it's probably one of my proudest moments, right? Because I mean, how I did that semester, it blew it exceeded my own expectations. You know what I mean? But um, I couldn't focus. You know what I mean? I was able to get through that first semester, but I started thinking about just all the things, and it the other things became too loud. Um, hmm. I think I would just say that a lot of the drive that I had in as a teenager, you know what I mean, and how I saw myself, that just kind of started to dissipate. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like I started
yeah.
to question whether or not um ah I definitely felt cursed. Whew,
Mm,
I felt cursed. I felt like um whenever things were moving in a more positive direction, that it was going to be short lived. There was going to be something, some bomb was going to occur to disrupt that flow. You know what I mean? And
mm.
I had kind of accepted that that was my story.
Wow. Thank you. That's really deep. You said basically it impacted your life in a way that made you isolate. Like you kind of pulled away from life in a lot of ways. Now, granted, you're still getting up every day, doing what you got to do, like in the motions, right? Just doing those things, but not truly connecting and not actually living as fully as you could with, rich relationships and, dynamic experiences, all the things that, our parents want for us, the things we want for ourselves, especially at that young age. And it kind of followed you for a long time, which was one of the things that made me like the most sad because after our initial like departure from each other's lives, I kind of moved on to like grieve but heal through it and have experiences, right? Travel, finish school, things like that. And so you're kind of watching my life in a huge contrast, like this juxtaposed experience that we were having. And again, we've definitely stayed in touch. And there were times where I had to like shake you awake and be like, ugh, come on, wake up, right? Like I got the what do you call those things? The defibrillator. And I was like, come on, trying to shock you back to life, having to say some hard things and kind of be a bit aggressive sometimes to really wake you up and bring you back to life with us. And so those are some of the more, I would say, further back, right? Those were further back in the experience. But even up to, let's say, this 2 year mark where we're kind of starting, I would say what I recall, and you can just add context or correct me if I'm wrong, but the way it was starting to impact your relationships, like even your marriage or your parenting style, is that you were not really being fully authentic. And you weren't, yes, connecting, like we said, but it was kind of impacting the perception that people were having of you. So they started to correlate your grief with your anger or correlate um your feelings of guilt or low self-esteem with your personality as opposed to an experience that you were having. And maybe some of the hypersensitivity or irritability that depression causes was being attributed to you being mean or to you, right? Like there were these other words that were starting to show up from the people in your life
Oh yeah.
that was starting to like, it was starting to rub you the wrong way. You were kind of like, this isn't me. And it started to create this dissonance for you where there was this shell of yourself and then there was this version of you that you recall but couldn't access. Talk to me about
Ooh. Whew. Yeah. Yeah. So um I'm not sure what to really attribute it to. Um, people's response to what I was going through or what I was exuding, but Um, yeah, those feelings, those things that I was going through, um, definitely did make me very irritable. Um, and I guess at the time I felt like I wasn't getting the concern. I wasn't feeling the concern, um, or like the grace that I felt like I needed. You know what I mean? The understanding. You know what I mean? The pain that I was enduring, and um, it definitely. I mean, I tried to hide from it. I tried to ignore it, but it definitely was affecting um, how I communicated with my wife and my daughter. It definitely, and others, it definitely affected how I received information. So I was very defensive. You know what I mean? And everything that a particular person said to me was um, offensive. You know what I mean? I took everything in an offensive way. I was uptight, high strung, like super sensitive to everything. Um, and excuse me, I remember a version of myself that didn't allow myself to go there with certain people. I prided myself on keeping my composure, right? And keeping my composure on a one-on-one basis, and but losing my composure on others' behalf, right? Um, and that was usually because I felt the need to defend someone else. But like I said, I was always in a place of defense. Um, and even that experience, when I became aware of it, because I was just going through the motion, just being how I was, and like, yo, why everybody got a problem with me? Like, you've been knew me, like you know what I mean? Like, but the reality of it is that because I was hurting others around me. You know what I mean? I was being insensitive, I was being inconsiderate. Um, and when then I realized, wow, this is a far cry from who I was and who I had aspired to be as a young man, imagining um, who I wanted to be as a man, as an adult, and it felt far away. You know what I mean? That version of me that I felt was the better version of me, I guess. He felt so far away. He was tucked away and locked away behind some doors and some walls. You know what I mean? Yeah, because he didn't want to get hurt no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't
Thank
want
you
to get
so
hurt no
much
more.
for going deep there. And I know I kind of pulled it up out of you just now. But it's so important for us to recognize that that is in the past, right? Like we kind of went down that path just so we can look at it as an observer and say, wow, that was my reality. That was a version of myself. That was my life for a long time. And now we're gonna kind of transition into, the past 2 years and like let's talk about the journey through the work, and then we'll talk a bit about what you see for yourself and how life has been since we've done this work. So, can you describe what it was like to get started working with me? And you can start from wherever you like. I know we talked a bit about just it being organic, um, just through conversations, listening, and that type of thing. But we actually uh, were a part of a group mastermind together, from the beginning of this year, and that kind of helped us carry on some of the work that we had started the year prior. So go ahead and describe what that was like for you or what it's been like for you.
Sure. So first off, I guess I might have been apprehensive at first. Um, and it had nothing to do with you personally. It definitely had to do with just what my perception of like therapy and counseling was,
Mm,
right? So what I remember is like you setting the record straight, right? Like this is what you think it is, but this is what we're actually doing, right? Um, and like I said, like I mentioned, like you held my hand when it needed to be held. That was very important. And just as important is you letting me go and allowing me to take certain steps on my own. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Because we, I need to feel a sense of independence. I need to feel a sense of autonomy, and I need to not feel like a complete burden, right?
Mm,
That'll block me from moving forward. Now we're in the mastermind, and I was ready, right? I know what to expect. I already knew that I knew that you are upfront. You don't hold punches. You face the hard. You bring up and you face the hard things. Um, and whenever we talk to you, some stuff that we didn't even know was there is gonna come up and come out into the open. Um, so I was afraid of that, I guess. I was afraid of it. I can say that. I was afraid of that. But what helped to um cure that fear was you actually saying like, yo, like yo, this is a safe place. We are cultivating a safe place. This is a place of no judgment. I'm not judging you. I don't want you even to judge yourself. These things, you know what I'm saying? I feel like there is so much that we did. There's so many breakthroughs that I experienced. But what for me was um, very important um, is the fact that I didn't feel like I was alone. Like that is so important.
I love
Um,
that.
you made it clear that we are imperfect, right? And you know those imperfections are okay, right? Um, that we can accept, right? That who I am, even the messy version, is still someone that can be understood without being judged and placed in a box. But that version of me can be nurtured, right? That version of me can be taught. That version of me, someone can be patient with that version of me to help me get to the newer version of me.
Mm,
Um, and that's so important because people give up on people all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, just naturally living in New York, unless you live in my house, I'm not worried about you. That's the mentality. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
you're not like you're my friend, you're my homie. We cool, but what's closest to me, right? What's in my, you know what I'm saying? That's really all that I have room for to really dedicate any type of mental energy, much less physical energy towards. So it's just every man for himself.
Mm.
And um, that was important that I knew that I wasn't doing any of this all on my own.
Yeah. So you mentioned so many beautiful things there. You talked about how, so many breakthroughs happening, and it sounds like what you appreciated most about our experience together in coaching is the safe space, the judgment-free zone, the understanding that even like you said so beautifully, the messy versions of you are still valuable and worthy and deserving of love, respect, care, consideration, grace, compassion, all of that stuff. So that's really awesome. Um, what were some of the most profound breakthroughs that you experienced through our work together? That's kind of hard because it's been a lot. But like, what are the ones that kind of stick with you and show up more consistently? Like, I ain't that person no more. I know how to handle this now because of the breakthrough. Any aha moments that kind of you can point to?
So stinking thinking was a trend for us for a while, right? We're going to avoid the stinking thinking. And when the stinking thinking comes up, we're going to call it out for what it is and we're going to shift.
Yeah.
So the breakthroughs were sometimes very simple. A
Mm.
simple suggestion of, okay, I understand and I appreciate the way, the reason or and how you observe this thing, but for a moment, let's take a chance and let's consider this instead.
Mhm.
And I'd be like, bro, but it's a testament to see how deep you can be in the mud and not even realize that you're in the mud.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying, so I'm gonna try to get through this without shedding a tear, okay?
That's okay.
So yes, the perspective shifts, the very simple but profound perspective shifts were very, very pivotal for me because I was trapped in a way of thinking, right? And I was wearing this mask of laughter and entertainment, right? Making sure that other people feel good about themselves and making sure that other people laugh,
Yeah,
right?
just keeping the surface level.
Right. But me, on the other hand, on the inside, it's topsy turvy.
Yeah.
Um, the different um self love, self care. I'm probably getting the specific phrase that you use,
Hmm.
but something with first aid, emotional first aid. Is that it? Am I getting
Yes,
close?
yes,
Okay.
you got it.
Yes.
Practicing
So
emotional intelligence.
emotional. There we go.
Hmm.
So um again, it the suggestions, those suggestions of the things that I could practice, right? The physical things that I can do, as well as the mental things that I can do to develop the habit of thinking differently and
And feeling
observing things and
differently. Yeah.
feeling differently, observing differently. That
Hmm.
is what my grieving heart needed,
Yeah.
right? That's what my grieving heart needed. Now, mind you, um, the concepts were there, right? I had been introduced to the different concepts, whether it be in service, in like worship service or whatever, or just communicating with people that I knew. Um, but as I often say to you, um, those habits that you taught us, those practical physical things that you taught us to do, for me, turned the idea into a real thing. It turned that concept, that ideology, into something that was then tangible, right? And then it affected the intangible again. You know what I mean? It was like intangible to tangible back to intangible, right?
Yes.
Um, and to simplify it is like it was the you being a part of KDM, um, connected the mental to the physical and mental to the spiritual,
Mm.
right?
It's
Because they
not,
were,
it sounds like it was the tangible, practical application of what to do. Because what I understand is that people know they shouldn't talk to themselves a certain way, or they know that they should probably, be a little less temperamental when they're talking to their loved ones, or the conscience will have you kind of reflect on it and be like, dang, I should have probably handled that differently. But it's like how to in the moment, right? Like how to observe
yeah,
yourself and apply those things practically on a conscious level rather than reacting on a subconscious level. Now, again, one of the phrases that we use is profound, not perfect, right? So we're here to be profound, not perfect. You're not going to get it
yeah,
right all the time, and that's okay.
yeah,
Have grace and compassion for yourself, and also understand how profound the impact you have on the world actually can be. And
hmm,
taking some accountability and some responsibility for that is a huge part of the framework that sounds like really resonated with you. um, and it seems to have had a pretty positive impact on your journey. So
may I add
um,
one more thing? May I add
sure,
one
of
more
course.
thing?
Yeah, of course.
Failing, failing forward,
Mm, it's another one, yes. There were so
shifting,
many, but I'm glad you asked
yeah,
one. Yeah.
shifting my mindset about what failure means to me, right? And how I could take a failure or what or consider a shortcoming and turn that into a positive thing. Oh my goodness. Whew, it's like when you got that jack under the car and you just start and lifting that car up. What? Like elevation for real, for real.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. So, what areas of your life would you say improved the most while working with me, or up to this point in our journey?
The appreciation and love that I have for myself.
Mm,
Um, for many years I spent my time, even though I was avoiding closeness and like contact with people, I loved on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everyone who was close enough to me, who I considered friend or family, I loved on them, but I loved on everybody else more than I loved on me,
mm,
right? And that's because I didn't accept me. I didn't accept my flaws. I didn't appreciate myself for the good things as well. I wasn't I was punishing myself, you know what I'm saying?
mm.
So coming up out of that and learning and developing the habits to um show myself appreciation and love on myself, because
Yeah,
it's so cliche, right? But you really can't love other people to the fullest of your ability if you can't love yourself.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And that was one of those things that, if I had never had to face it and own up to it, I probably never would. like ever were to say out loud that I didn't love myself still sounds crazy.
Because you love yourself so much now, you be like, who wasn't loving me? I love you now. What you talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
I love that. And I actually started to giggle when you use the word appreciation because I could probably make y'all millionaires for how often I say the word appreciate. Like, I appreciate everything y'all do. Even when I get pissed off, I be like, you know what? I appreciate you bringing that up for me. I appreciate you triggering the shit out of me right now because I needed to see that so I can heal it, right? And I would just appreciate y'all for everything. Oh, I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate you being honest, like, right? And so, like, having that level of appreciation just kind of poured all over you like grease, like oil or something, and dipped in the deep fryer. You are now deep fried in appreciation, and you don't have no choice but to appreciate yourself and appreciate other people. So that's really that kind of tickled me a little bit. So I hear that one of the areas that improve the most is your love for yourself and how you've been able to practice that emotional first aid and to observe your thoughts and your feelings and apply some of those strategies, in real time. I know you've shared with me that you kind of hear my voice in your head sometimes when you encountering certain situations and you're like, okay, I could call her right now, but I could just go through the Rolodex of some things she might say.
Right,
So tell me a
right.
little bit about how the positive stuff has been like impacting those other areas of your life, like your relationships, your parenting style, your working relationships, work with relationship with family, things like that.
Um, so I think one of the first things that was eliminated was like blame shifting,
Mm.
right? So blaming everybody else for my attitude, blaming everybody else for why I'm grumpy, like I'm already in a bad mood, and then something would trigger me. So instead of being acknowledging that I was already in a bad mood, the trigger would be the reason why, right? And can of course there are people that trigger you on purpose, but um, can you repeat the question, please? I'm sorry.
It's
I
okay.
was going somewhere.
It's okay. I was just wondering what other areas of your life
Yes,
were positively impacted.
right. So, homework time has changed. Whew, homework time and bath time with my daughter. Like, I used to get so frustrated and so angry at like her not cooperating and her not giving me exactly what I want when I want it. You know what I'm saying? But um, I've learned to listen, right? I've learned to consider the fact that my baby's in school, like she got a 9 to 5, and any one of us that's worked a 9 to 5, a 9 to 7, a 9 to 10, you know what I'm saying? We all know how it is when you get home. When you get home, you ain't trying to do nothing. You don't want to look at nothing. You don't want to have to lift nothing. You
Right.
just wish that when you float through the door, somebody, right? When you first of all, you wish that you could just float through the door because you probably don't want to walk no more. That that everything that you need for the evening that's going to bring you comfort would just be laid there before you. But I've learned that just like I'm a person and I'm imperfect and I'm trying to figure myself out, how can I expect more than that from a baby, from my daughter?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being more compassionate with myself has allowed me to be more compassionate towards my wife, to be more less defensive, more open minded. Um, the compassion has helped me with my tone. Um, and I think most importantly, though, like there's an awareness. So when I'm triggered, right, or like overstimulated, I can identify it. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it right all the time, but I do have the ability now to be like, all right, I need to chill out real quick because I'm going through something. I'm aware of it. Like, yo, all right, this isn't the me that I want to be.
Yeah.
This isn't the me that I want to be. So something is happening. What's happening? What happened today? Okay, this and that happened today. How does that make me feel? It's making me feel like this. Because I feel like this, now that I'm getting daddy, 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 right? So, okay, I've learned to be like, so one of the things, I'm, I'm going to change my name to, all right, look, look, I need a moment, please. Give me a moment, give me 10 minutes, give me 15 minutes, and whatever it is that you calling me for, whatever it is that you need me for, whatever it is you need me to look at, I got you. For right now, just give me a moment, please. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. It sounds like your communication style has shifted. Your parenting style definitely has gotten a bit of an upgrade. Um, let's talk a little bit about like your career and your, financial trajectory and the outlook that you have about, you know, your ambitions, right? Now that you've uncovered through the coaching experience all the stuff that was going on beneath the surface, how has that kind of opened up new doors for you career wise?
sure. So, um, when I first, so I was already trading, right? I'm a day trader, I'm a professional crypto and currency day trader. And I'd been doing it for to this year would make 5 years. Um, but I was struggling with consistency, right? Because of and things that we've talked about recently, right? Anxiety, um, attachments, um, different things that we already talked about that created blocks in my trading
Mhm.
career, right? Like how I saw myself, um, be feeling the opportunity to do very well is there, but subconsciously I'm thinking about other people not doing well and allowing that to make me feel guilty and not push myself. Um, bring me back, bring me back, bring me back.
It's okay. Career. We're talking about
Right.
the
Okay.
evolution of your career through this
Yes.
journey.
Yes. So even even my purpose was in the beginning, my purpose was shallow, right? I just wanted to make a lot of money because I didn't want to live how I've been living. I wanted to achieve a certain lifestyle for those around me. Um, but there was probably only like one or two levels of the why, as opposed to the layers that I have now.
Yeah.
Um, right. So I just wanted to trade, make a lot of money, get nice things, take care of my family, and just let that be that. I didn't want to help anyone. I didn't want to. At first, I tried it, but um, I didn't know about the marketing stuff and this and that. Well, I had ideas, but I wasn't interested. Um, and after dealing with some people, a lot of people say they want to try a thing and learn a thing, but when it comes time to put your feet to the pavement, they're MIA. You know what I'm saying? And then, I had some people do some shady things. So I kind of just wrote off helping people, right? But it's my nature to want to help people. It's my nature, right? And I that kind of leads into the guilt of like doing well. I want others to be doing well around me as well. I observed over from growing up, I have observed people that were not as good at a thing, right? And how they were treated versus people that were good at a thing, and I didn't want to be one of those people that perpetuated that. Um, so I'm doing well, but not consistently. And there was a block, and we talked about the block, and you gave me a suggestion, and uh, immediately, immediately upon applying, it took me a little while to take some money and put it to the side to make sure that money was sitting there. Um, but as soon as that money was there, and I took my trades, like the atmosphere was just different, like completely different. Um, let's see. Um, we started talking about um, what capitalism means, and black excellence.
I was on
Eh,
my soapbox, bruh.
whew,
I was laying into y'all then, man. And
yes,
y'all were getting the
yes,
ropes for those sessions. Y'all was like,
yes.
wait, what? She blindsided us. We ain't come here for all this.
hmm I liken it. I liken it to. I liken it to the slaves, to the freed slave talking to the slaves that's still on the plantation, talking about, but we get food and we get shelter here. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like that's what it felt like. It's like freedom is over here. What you mean? What you what you mean you more comfortable over here when you're in bondage and you're in captivity? Like,
Mm.
yeah, it looks good and it feels good because that's what you're used to. And this new thing looks like wilderness and the unknown, right? But that wilderness and the unknown, your destiny's in your hands. It's not going to be dictated by man. Listen, listen. So my purpose I started to see examples of what healthy purpose, right, and ambition looks like, where it's not steeped in selfishness and self-preservation, right?
Which
Because
is
we've
a
heard
form of what type of thinking
stinking thinking.
and scarcity.
If scarcity, I was gonna get to that next. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I was literally about to say the other thing is that that scarcity mindset was brought up and exposed,
Mm.
right? And it's like, what? But I believe in this and I believe in that and I believe in this, but my actions weren't showing that. My actions weren't showing that I believe in I believe in the possibilities of what my skill can bring to my life and others. I believe in the possibility, or in the inevitability, that I'm going to achieve the goals that I set.
Mm.
Um, also, like, right, so bringing up the scarcity mindset showed how it gave me an understanding why I would fall into trading, well, besides not thinking that I'm going to be successful, but why I would fall into trading impulsively,
Mm.
why I would like stack all these trades in one track, stack all these positions in one trade, thinking that I'm never gonna have the opportunity to see this money or make this type of money again, or I need to make all of it right now,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
One of the things I didn't express to you. I don't think I've ever expressed it to you, but one of the things that I would experience, especially after having like a good week or a good month of trading, is like once I had the money, I couldn't think of what to do with it. Once I had it, no, like for real. So prior to there was this desperation to get it, and I had all these other investment ideas that I would take that money and put it into. But when I got the money, it was like, wait, what was I supposed to do again? What did I say I was going to do again? But if I
Yeah.
spend it, but if I spend it, and if I put in this investment, how long is it going to be again before I'm able to make something?
Mm.
And so,
So like even having it and still feeling the lack, still feeling that fear
yes,
of, the
yes,
unknown, or yeah,
yes, yes.
that's
So
deep.
it became like idolizing the money,
Mm.
focusing on the money as an entity, as a being, as opposed to focusing on the money as a tool,
Yeah.
as energy exchange,
Yeah.
right? So that was very, and imagine like there's a part of me that already knew these things or was aware of these concepts, but
But just
all
connecting.
the yeah, and
Yeah.
all the junk and the trauma just kind of distorted. It didn't kind of, it definitely distorted all perception that I had, and you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Um, and so
Sorry.
no problem. Once I can say that after each suggestion for solution to something that was affecting my trading negatively, once I implemented it, I immediately saw the positive results. So when I stopped thinking about when I first of all when I set that money aside and started to trade, I still was operating in a sense of scarcity, had not known yet, but it was like level one of scarcity defeated, right? So now we're trading again, we're
I
trading
love
again,
it.
right? But then the other aspects of my trading were greed, uh, scarcity in the sense that I'll never be able to do this again, blah 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 blah. And as we were going through these things, and you challenged my way of thinking, and I altered that. Um, I was taking better trades, but less riskier trades. You know what I'm saying? So, and because of that, the consistency started to follow.
I love that. I got a little antsy because I was excited to bring to your attention one of the major breakthroughs that we had since we're talking about trading. And it was um, how you connected trading to yourself as a father. That was big. And then we can kind of switch gears and start to look at, life after coaching, but just speak to that really quickly, like how you were able to overcome that way of thinking and how it felt to have
Oh my
such a big
goodness.
breakthrough.
It's so irritating that it was such a simple thing. Like so simple. So I was judging myself and judging my abilities as a father um through my trading, but it was like negative motivation. So it's like if I don't do good, then if I don't trade well, then I'm not going to make any money. If I'm not making any money, then I'm not going to be successful. And if I'm not successful, then I cannot do the things and give the things that I want to give. Right. So it was like if if I don't trade well, then I am not going to be able to be a good father. And the perspective shift was when I trade well or if I trade well, it increases the my ability to do the things that I need to do as a good father. Listen, listen. Come Sunday night, I was in the market like, yes,
Right after
you
that breakthrough,
belong
right?
to me. We mashing it up.
Who's your daddy?
What?
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. That was definitely a big breakthrough. Um, and it shifted things immediately for you, which was so beautiful to watch. Like even just when we were having the conversation, the light bulb
Yeah,
going off was just so
yeah.
beautiful to be a part of. And I just want to say thank you for trusting
No,
me
thank
throughout
you.
this journey to like really help mold and shift and shape your
Thank
life in a
you.
different way. Because it like when I hear the story in this capacity, it's like wow, that's a big jump, it's
Yeah,
a huge leap that you've
yeah.
made, so that's awesome.
Um, Real quick, for the people that don't know that are listening and watching, when it comes to being a professional trader, right? Most would think that knowing how to trade, just knowing how to trade is the most important thing. Knowing all the intricacies and the nuances about the market is what makes you a good trader or is the most important thing in trading, and it's not.
Mm,
The most important thing in trading is your psychology, your mindset,
mm,
how you think about yourself and how you view the world. That directly affects how you take trades in the market, how you observe the market, and how you interpret the information that you receive. So
wow.
it 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 was a perfect whatever, perfect storm. I don't know.
It's a perfect compliment to what you were
Yeah,
trying to accomplish in your career, which is like
yeah,
to really shift the mental landscape so that you can have a completely different trajectory
yeah,
on that physical, financial,
yep,
spiritual landscape as well. So that's great. I mean, I'm just so proud of you. Um, and I'm excited for what is coming to you because of these shifts and the effort that you've put into this process. I've acknowledged plenty personally and in our mastermind how humbled I am to have masculine energies trust this process and to show up for themselves every day and to really allow themselves to push through and work through the tension in order to accomplish the level of uh, growth that you have. And please let me know if you have to go. I understand uh, time. Okay. All right. So let's switch gears a little bit because we could talk about this stuff for a long time. But what's life like after coaching? So we're coming down to literally the last few weeks of our mastermind. It has been a, slow landing of the plane for many of the things that we have accomplished. And this interview itself is like a culmination project for all of the things that we've gotten to do so far. So, how would you say, like, if you could encapsulate it in just a few words, how has your life changed since completing coaching with me and being in the mastermind?
um my self-esteem, you know, my self-esteem has definitely improved. um the belief that the understanding and knowing that I can take an idea, right? that I can take an idea and turn it into something tangible. You know what I mean? Um, Word. I can think a thing and create a thing as well. I could do that. you know, um, yeah.
If you could fill in the blanks, my life went from blank to blank. What could
Ah,
you say?
purposeless to purposeful.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm so
Um,
humbled by that. Wow.
just finding finding that driving force all over again. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Rediscovering, redefining what motivates me. You know what I
mm.
mean? And the reason why I'm
Wow.
doing certain
That is
things.
so
Yeah.
awesome. That is so great. Okay. So let's see. If you were to support other people that are considering maybe joining any one of my coaching programs, but they might be hesitant, what would you say to those people?
You ain't got nothing to be scared of. You in good hands. Um, Fear, false evidence appearing real. Whatever you're afraid of is not real. Um, the things that have caused you to be afraid are real, but the result is not real. Um, yes, things are hard, but they don't have to be, right? Um, because you have a support system. Um, you're going to be supported. You're not going to be left alone. You're not going to be left behind. Um, you're not just going to be a case number or a name on a file, but um, you're going to be seen as a real as a human being. You're going to be seen as who you are. You're going to be accepted and appreciated for who you are, and um, there's community.
And you're gonna be a different person by the end of it.
Well,
You ain't even gonna
well,
recognize yourself
well,
at all.
yeah, yeah. You will not recognize the new version, but you're gonna be very, very, very pleased with the new version.
I love it. Thank you.
Hmm.
So you definitely talked about how your sense of purpose has evolved over this journey. How would you say that your growth as it stands right now is set to positively impact those around you, whether it be your family, community members, colleagues, you know, your I know you just graduated into a new role in your church community.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
exciting. Like, how do you see this new version of yourself having a positive impact in the rest of your world?
I'm not gonna be one of those people that when somebody is pouring out, I'm not gonna respond like, "Wow, that's crazy," right? But right, that or it's gonna be okay, right? Because that's another one of those nice things that people say to encourage you, but it's kind of cliche and it really doesn't help, right? So I've now acquired tools, right? Okay, I've acquired tools that are effective because of my experience in life, right? And now, because of what I experienced in life and the tools that I've acquired, I can now share those tools with someone else, right? And instead of giving the man the fish or the woman the fish, I can teach them to fish for themselves, right? So in this case, I can help people with loving themselves. I can help people with accepting themselves. I can help people with being more compassionate to others as well as themselves. Um, I can talk to people about what it takes to give yourself grace as well as give others grace. Um, how to cope, right? I can give people suggestions on when I was faced with certain adversities or certain challenges, how to just breathe through it, right? A lot of times we get anxious and worked up about things and we just live in that and kind of just
Yeah.
turn it over inside of ourselves, and the people around us can add to that, help to perpetuate that way of behaving and so on, as opposed to, so one of the biggest things is for me was not needing, every minute was not needing to run to someone or
Mm.
call someone when I was having some type of an episode. You know what I'm saying? I can help people with the behaviors and just the habits that they can develop, and the ways to shift the thinking in the moment to help them come up out of that. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just the moments. It's just stop for a second and just breathe. Just take a
Yeah.
few deep breaths. And so I know that I'm going to help somebody that's grieving. I know that I'm going to help somebody that doesn't love themselves. I know that I'm going to be able to help somebody that um, is afraid of being successful, right? Because these are the things that I've experienced and I've worked through them, and I've practiced the things that I needed to do to get over that. And since I've acquired the tools, I am willing to share them.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love it. So, um, I know you sometimes downplay, what you are capable of and what you're already doing. So, not only are you helping women and mothers learn how to trade now, you are also set to support the youth within your church and within your community to, understand themselves better and learn how to navigate life in a healthier way and be a safe space for them so that they can actually grow into the greatest version of themselves. And you've expanded the way that you see yourself as a business owner and how you can impact the realm of other traders and helping them to understand the psychology that's necessary for them to be successful. And I could see you like really spreading so much of the nurturology framework, but also the things that you've picked up personally and giving it out in your own unique way. So just a couple more questions and we're gonna wrap soon. I really appreciate your time. Um, let's go here first. What was like the most surprising moment that you saw from me? So, hi, beautiful. We've spent quite a lot of time together. We have gone through, the roller coaster of emotions. I'm very transparent and authentic in our work as well. So you've seen me on good days, bad days, and different. We just showed up and allowed that space to support us all. Um, what was like the biggest surprise moment for you? This is random. I don't know why this just came to me, but Anything that
You
showed
said
up for you, it was like,
you said
it was like,
pertaining to you or just in general?
I mean, in general, but from me as well, because just to kind of bring it back full circle, right? We've known each other for such a long time. So now you're seeing me in my element, kind of in my zone of genius, doing some other things with other people, in that group coaching setting. Was there anything that she was like, oh, okay, I didn't even, oh, that's how you, oh, all right. That was surprising. It could be for me and then also for yourself. What was the most surprising thing to come up and out of you throughout this journey?
I think it was, so what was okay. What was surprising really was the honesty of you being honest about your struggles,
Mm.
right? You being honest about any triggers that you might have had, right?
I was in the hot
And
seat quite a few times, so
yeah, and some of
they,
and
y'all loved those moments to have me in the hot seat.
some of like the things that the challenges that you are facing like currently, right? Because sorry.
It's fine. No, it's fine.
Um what we the issue that I think I was having was that, so I think at the prior to that, what I understood is like whatever these things are that came up, they were dealt with, they were defeated, and then life goes on, right? And so within myself, I'm acknowledging that we address certain things, right? And sometimes it might come up for 2 weeks, skip a week, so the third week is good, but on the fourth week it comes up again, and I'm going through it, right? But I don't want to say nothing because we addressed it, right? But just the realizing and seeing that you're still growing, you're still learning, and you're still um what's the word? Excuse me 1 second.
No problem.
I'm sorry. Gonna have to
No, it's
edit
okay.
that.
No, you're fine.
Uh, um yeah. And so yes, understanding and realizing that you're still growing and you're still dealing with certain things and working through things just made you more human, right? It brought you, again, it brought to life profound, not perfect,
Yeah.
right? And
It sounds like you were surprised because us having a personal friendship outside of, let's say, the group that we were a part of together, were you surprised that like I was that transparent in front of other people too? Because you were kind of the
yes,
leader of the group of that space. And
yes.
you're like, oh shoot, she about to tell them for real. I mean, I know the tea because I'm her friend, but like she about to tell these people her business. Like, oh, that's G. Like she really
It,
owning her shit right now.
it's a couple of times I might have looked to the left and the right to see what their reaction was. Like, you better not be judging. Trying to see the other squares, if you like see their facial
Right.
expression. Trying to read their thoughts. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So
I
that
love
was that
that.
was definitely an amazing thing to see, because it just, like I said, it just made you human. You know what I'm saying? It made you
Yeah.
more human. It makes the goals that we're trying to achieve um reachable, more realistic, not so far out of reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um it's like, wow, you can do all of these things, and you have done all of these things. Um and you're still doing these things, right? Even though everything isn't perfect.
Right. Life is still
Yeah.
happening to me just like everybody else. And so it unlocked for you and for our other mastermind members this realization that you can still be amazing and powerful and you know own your authority and be authentic at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So many times we kind of look at our mentors and the people we aspire to be like, and we put them on a pedestal almost as if they're not human. And because they don't show us the inner workings of their emotions or their spiritual shortcomings and the things that they're working through, we kind of pedestalize them and make it seem like they're so far out of reach. We're so out of touch with what they might be experiencing because we're just not there yet. And I felt really blessed to be able to share that level of authenticity and truth with you guys because I also felt like it opened up a level of transparency amongst us where we were like, okay, we are still all peers, right? Like you might be
Yeah.
3 or 4 or 5 steps ahead of us in this particular thing, but you're still human and you're still here with us going through the daily experience of life. And so that just made us closer. I love you guys so much and I'm extremely proud of you all for the things that you've accomplished. But specifically for you, what do you feel like you're most proud of now that you've kind of made it through this journey, through the program, through the coaching, through the mastermind?
Um most proud of. So yeah, what I'm most proud of is those moments when I'm by myself, and I'm excuse me. What I'm most proud of is those moments when I'm by myself and I can implement the tools that I've acquired,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So I can be like, all right, shh, just take a moment, right? Or I can say no. I can identify no. That's not the way that's thinking. That's negativity. Let's see how I can turn that into a positive and keep going from there. And
Yeah.
on top of that, I've had a few occasions where I was able to offer that perspective to other people. You
Mm,
know what I mean? And like it, I'm helping people. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm helping people. Yeah.
And you've taken on this journey in such a profound way and felt compelled to share the experience with other people. Kishana, she says all the time, like, I couldn't keep you to myself. As much as I wanted to keep you all to myself, I had to share this level of healing with other people because wow, if I could, overcome the things that I've, been through and get to where I am now, I would love to see other people have that same experience. So I'm definitely grateful to you for feeling that compelling nudge to say, nah, you should give her a call. You know what I mean? Like trust the journey, trust the process. This one is different than some of the experiences that we have. And especially within our community, right? What I'm most proud of when it comes to you is how much you've taken on um, you've like taken up the mantle of community wellness alongside me. Um, and I'm proud of you for that because you get to be the example in all the spaces that I can't be in, right? Like you are operating in a different state, you're operating in a different everything, right? And the male centered spaces that I might not be able to show up in, or even some of the religious spaces that I'm not able to give voice to certain things, you get to occupy those spaces and to share the wealth of community wellness with other people.
Spread
And
those
so,
roots.
yeah, I'm really, really excited. Last thing, if you could sum up your experience in one sentence, we just went through the whole journey from before, during, and after, but how would you kind of wrap it up for us in one sentence? Your
It
experience.
it has been an enriching journey of healing and s- healing, self-development. Um, I'll leave it at that. It has been a journey of enrichment and self-development.
Yeah, enriching, healing, and self-development. I love
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh, you did it. You made it through without one tear. And I am so excited for all the things that you are working on. If anyone is watching and they are interested in learning more about trading or anything that you have going on, like even from a male perspective, if a young man sees this and they're like, man, I really need somebody to talk to, and maybe I'm not ready to talk to Atiba just yet, but I like hearing this guy's perspective. What are some ways that people can connect with you? How can they kind of lean on you for that support?
Sure. Well, right now, the main way that they can reach out to me is through my email address, and
Okay.
that's going to be evelynlegacystocks@gmail.com. EvelynLegacystocks@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We got some things rolling out, finishing up some stuff for the end of the year. 2025 is going to be big for you. I'm excited about all the amazing possibilities. Obviously, excitement is my favorite word right now. But it's because it really is amazing to see how much you've grown and progressed and what is forthcoming in your life. So I feel complete. I appreciate your time so much and your honesty for sharing this journey with me and with others. I'm giving you a big hug. You have a wonderful evening. I'm going to end the stream now, and I look forward to connecting with you guys all again soon. You know how to reach me. I am the nurturologist. Peace.